Hey there, Yuris here, and welcome to Community Life. Here we talk with the amazing humans from the community world about their life journeys and learn from each other. And today we have a conversation with Michelle Sims, a global community events and marketing expert who has a passion for empowering women, an avid traveler, a behind the community podcast host, and a people connector who loves to inspire curiosity and collaboration. So, hello, Michelle.
Hello, Yuri. Nice to finally get to chat with you.
I'm super happy. And you are the first person I really have a conversation whose name is Michelle. So I'm curious, how do you feel about the Michelle song by the Beatles?
Oh, interesting question. So I've had uh, a lot of people sing it to me in the past, I think. And some of them were like sleazy people in a bar. So I kind of have a love-hate, I guess, relationship with the song. But if you want to sing it, you can sing it. It's fine.
I'm not a great singer. So do you speak French?
No, I don't, but I'm getting married in France, so I'm trying to get back on the Duolingo bandwagon and practice my French.
How many days streak do you have on Duolingo?
Oh, I always get up to like 7 days and then I do something and I break it.
Got it. So hope you will learn some French till you're married. And yeah, you know, I know that you're an avid traveler, and I'm curious, how did you fall in love with Greece?
So, oh, how did you know that I fell in love with Greece?
It's my inner feeling.
So I actually quit my job in maybe 2014. What year are we in now? 20. Yeah, so almost like 10 years ago when I was in Australia and I decided to go traveling, and one of the places that I traveled to and stayed the longest out of that gap kind of year was Greece. And I just fell in love, the people, the food, the I think the culture is so beautiful. And I think I just always had in my mind like the Greek islands, blue and white, buildings, beach, that just it was just so romantic. And I've been back to Greece probably like 9 times now. So yeah, it's my favorite place in the world. Yeah.
Blue and white sounds more like a Santorini. So is it your favorite place in Greece?
I think, yeah, Santorini is definitely my favorite place. And then, so I've been back to Santorini, sorry, been back to Santorini maybe 9 times. And then also a few other times. The place that I lived in Greece was called Ios. I don't know if
Mhm.
you've ever been to the Greek islands.
Not yet. I've been to the Greek islands, but not Eos.
Eos. And it's known in Australia as like the destination where Australians go and have a good time, party.
Okay, got it.
But yeah, I worked and lived on EOS for about 3 months. And I think also that was kind of a place that I learned more about myself. I went there alone, I traveled there alone. I had to set myself up and try not to go too poor and lose all my money on, enjoying myself. So it was a really good learning experience and growth experience at the time. Yeah.
Was that your first beach bar working experience?
Yeah, I mean, I actually, before I left Australia, I was working in Bondi Beach in one of the bars on top of my marketing job. So I would work from 9 a.m. till 5:30 and then 6 p.m. at a bar. And finish off sometimes at 2 a.m. in the night. And I definitely managed to save a lot of money, but also, yeah, it was a good experience. So I definitely I'm glad I did it in my 20s, and I don't know if I can do it again, but it was good.
So you'd like to do that again, I guess.
I would love to just take time off and go traveling around the world, but I don't know about working at a bar. I think the value of working at a bar or a cafe is the way is getting to meet people and exchange, stories, and I think that, the one of the biggest things in life is, and to bring you happiness, I think, is meeting people and having those social interactions. So it does bring value, but uh, I do like my job.
Still, what is the warmest memory you have from that time?
From traveling in all
From
around
working in Greece, like
in
in
Greece,
this party island.
in the body. Um, ooh, I think I think the sense of like I think the whole experience and the sense of like self growth is kind of one of my happiest memories, because I remember leaving and being like, I feel like I'm a different human now.
Hmm.
Um, but I definitely think, there was a lot of good parties. There was something called the Swedish Midsummer party that happened in Eos, and everyone on that day, you would wear the same shirts, and blue and green, blue and yellow. You would all start in one spot and march down the road. You'd be singing songs along the way. You would be visiting and picking up people along the way, and you get all the way down from the top of the hill to the bottom of the hill, kind of like a pilgrimage on that day. And there'd be a massive build up to that experience, and it just felt like you were really part of something so much bigger than just a little party. So yeah, I think that was a very special experience.
Sounds really nice, and like blue and yellow. It's also very near to me. Like I can relate to because Ukrainian colors are blue and yellow. So yeah, I I can get it. And still, why did you leave Australia?
um, I left Australia. So if anyone's grown up in Australia, I mean, it does feel like a smaller town sometimes. You get to know
Hmm.
everyone in your little circle, and then you feel like you're in this big bubble sometimes. So I think I knew that I needed to, the only way I could grow and learn was if I
Hmm.
left Australia. I felt like I lived in Sydney, which was, I thought, like the biggest city in Australia. Maybe Melbourne's a little bit bigger, but, and to feel like I'd kind of gotten to this point in my career, in my life, the only place I knew to go next was kind of outside of Australia. So I never had a real plan to move and live in London and stay here for as long as I've stayed here. But I kind of just discovered that during that journey of meeting people, discovering myself, and yeah, learning things along the way.
Why the UK and, for example, not the US?
Well, my dad's Scottish, so I've got a heritage visa, so I could easily move to the UK a lot easier than the US. And I think you have to apply for like a green card for the
Hmm.
US, which is a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
Um, so and I don't know, I'm not really a big fan of the US. Apologies to anyone that lives there, but I've heard about the healthcare system. I've heard about, there's people with, weapons on them. And I think there's, challenges in every destination that you move to. But I felt like London was felt like home more than anywhere else. Yeah.
What is the difference between Sydney and London?
Uh, Well, for one, Sydney has very blue skies. um, I think there's, uh, you've got a beautiful beach nearby. The city and the people, there's a lot more in the center in London.
Hmm.
And transport systems way better in the UK. There's a lot more, or I guess more regulation and things set up. So there's a lot more opportunities in the UK. And but there's a lot of different opportunities. And I think the lifestyle in Australia and in Sydney specifically is like you go to work, you work, and you finish at 5:30 and you go to the pub, you go to the beach, you see your friends. In London, I don't think you have that big divide in work a lot. I feel like you work and then you might think about work in the evening or go to a networking event. It doesn't really end, and sometimes it doesn't end on the weekend. So I think the mentality and the work life balance doesn't exist as much as in the UK. But I'm a hard worker, so I feel like I do enjoy the rush and the energy of the city and the way it's what it brings out in people.
What about people?
In Sydney compared to London, there's a big culture difference. I actually I would consider myself as someone that's quite quiet and shy. And in Australia, there's a lot more louder people. But when I come over into the UK, I think I'm considered quite a loud person,
Ah.
um, and a little bit more open. And I definitely think the British culture is it's quite funny, and I get it, and I feel like I'm becoming more like a Londoner every day, where we're very apologetic over here. We're very don't make eye contact. You don't, you're not as open. You don't say hello on the street, or I think everyone's kind of each to their own. And then in Australia, you're just walking along the street and someone will make a comment and say, you've got a great jacket. I really like your jacket. Or they'll talk about the weather, or they'll talk about the beach, or they'll talk about something on the news. So they're more likely to strike up a conversation. And
Mm.
I definitely miss that. But you go you go to Brighton and you definitely have that kind of experience. So it's not UK wide. It's definitely, I think, London and very serious city workers.
Have you ever tried to start a random conversation with a random person in London?
Yeah, I think I do it too much sometimes.
What people say to you about that?
I do think I feel like I have a good reading on some people,
Mm.
and I'll only strike up a conversation if I feel like it would be reciprocated. So whether it's like a cashier or like someone in a coffee shop, or someone that I genuinely think their outfit looks great, I have to ask them where they got it from. So yeah.
Got it. So you told a little bit about your father already, so let's start from the beginning. Tell me about your parents. Who are they?
So my parents both, my dad's family is Scottish but moved to Australia, and were fruit farmers and worked for the embassy. Oh, sorry, they worked for the embassy. My mum's parents were fruit farmers in Australia, and they both went to teachers college.
Hmm.
And so they both have teachers background, but my mum was a teacher for about 40 years and just recently retired a couple of years ago. My dad actually went down the business analyst route and works with big banks and corporations as a consultant. So they've kind of gone on separate ways. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like from the words you said, you're more like in your dad's way, like more ambitious part. But also, I wonder, how does it feel to have mom teacher?
Yeah, I think my mom, she's the kindest and most humble person in the world. And I hope some of that's rubbed off on me a little bit. But she would do anything for anyone. And she's kind of, she's always been, I guess, a community person at
Mm.
heart. She's always worked with, she loves working with children and she's really good with children. Um, but she is also worked with the local community and always done charity work. She'll, when she moved to Sydney, because they originally lived in Adelaide, which is in a different part of Australia. She joined the tennis club. She joined the, bowling club. She picked up charity work. So I think, and even now she's retired. She runs a ladies investing. She runs a ladies Friday club, and she brings in different speakers and things like that. So I'm always like, Mom, I'm doing the same job as you.
Oh, it's so fun. Yeah, and I wonder, um, how do you feel about children?
I haven't got any of my own just yet. Um, but I think when I do, I'll feel, you know, I'll feel a bit more of an attachment to them. But at this point, they're great, and I'm excited to meet more of them in the future.
What is the first memory of your childhood that comes to your mind right now?
Mm, I think just since we're talking about family, probably like family time, holidays, and spending time at, you know, grandparents' houses and things like that for Christmas.
Christmas.
Mm.
And your birthday is in between Christmas and New Year. So, do you usually have a non-stop celebration week?
Yeah, so I was very lucky as I was the only, the youngest child. So I think my mom felt a bit bad and would always make sure that I had a festive period and it wouldn't be overcrowded by Christmas. So, when I was young, I would have a birthday party before the school holiday break, and then we'd
Hmm.
go to Adelaide for my grandparents and my cousins, and we'd have a party there, and then we come back to Sydney, and then there'd be another party, and so I'd get three parties or four parties sometimes. But yeah, now that I'm older, I don't really. I try to avoid as many parties as possible and just really enjoy the holiday and the time off work.
Just stick with few parties.
Yeah.
Just two, three, up to 3 years, I guess. And how do you love to celebrate your birthday?
um, I love to celebrate it with my fiance. He's he's very good at planning some sort of surprise. He'll do a dinner or he'll do a day out in London or somewhere special. And uh, yeah, that's probably the best way.
Do you always have balloons with age numbers?
No, I don't know if I ever had any.
I guess yes. But okay, so what is the story behind your matching tattoos with Kate?
Matching tattoos. So it was actually in that big period of my life where I moved to London. Back in the day when everyone used Facebook.
It's
I
like another life already.
Another life. I don't know what it was. I put my location update as moving to London, and this was just off the back of coming back from Greece and working and living there for a while. And another girl who I met maybe once in Greece had updated her location to moving to London.
Hmm.
And so I reached out to her and she reached out to me, and we just said, I see you're moving. Do you want to catch up? And really, the rest is history. We met up. We decided that day we were going to move in together. And she's from Australia as well. She lived in Greece and worked in Greece, but we never kind of overlapped in social circles, even though there's about 100 workers on that island during the season. We never really caught up. And now we're kind of best friends. And the next year we decided to go back to visit Greece. And one thing led to another. And my me trying to say, I'd get a tattoo, but maybe, we'll wait for a special occasion. That actually happened in Greece, and I had to go through with the tattoo. And yeah, now we have matching tattoos on each arms. And the reason it's on my arm on this side and her arm on this side is because when we both moved to London, it was really, really cold at that time. And we used to link arms wherever we went. And so it's on the arm that we'd linked together. And it looks like a pretzel, if I show you, but it is actually meant to be like a rope of us being tied together.
Wow. It's a really great story. And, I feel like all this meeting your best friend now sounds like pretty much serendipity. And I wonder, how do you feel about all this strange things, unpredictable things that happens in life?
I think we go along in life very fortunate or unfortunate. It's really all luck. And we didn't choose to kind of be born into this life. But yeah, and I think it's a very big privilege to have the kind of life and the experience that you have. So I think if you get an opportunity, I think it's really important that you lean into it and don't waste that experience, and find a way where you can pass that luck and that and share that kind of privilege and opportunity with other people that might not have had as much luck or opportunity in their life as well. So yeah.
And how did you feel when Kate moved from London?
Very sad, very sad. But she's living in Brisbane now, which is not too far from where my mum lives in Sunshine Coast. So and also where all my other friends are living too. So whenever I go to visit, I can visit her and visit my mum and all my friends. So it's not the worst thing in the world, but I do miss her.
What do you usually do when you catch up?
I think like any woman, we talk for about 48 hours until we can't talk anymore. We get that out of the way. And then it just, yeah, we the last time we caught up, she came to Sydney for 48 hours. So for that whole time, we didn't stop talking. And then the time before that, we actually went to Coachella together. And also did stop talking for the 72 hours that we were basically together.
Wow. Yeah, what are you talking about? Everything?
Everything. And I think if anyone else has, long distance friends, we send each other podcast updates basically. So it's like a 30-minute podcast every couple of weeks of what's going on in our lives. And it's very, very therapeutic. It's very nice to get it all out.
Sounds great. I've never heard that somebody, share with each other kind of podcast episodes about their life, but it's really interesting how you phrased it. And you have your own podcast, Behind the Community podcast, even though I told you I will try not to use the word community. Still, here we are. And for how long have you had this idea of the podcast before starting it?
Before starting it, I think I probably had it for the idea in my head for maybe 3 years. And I just was too chicken to start it.
And what motivated you to finally start it?
I think The biggest motivator was, I guess last year I was kind of feeling a little bit stuck,
Hmm.
a little bit demotivated for plenty of reasons. I think, sometimes I think coming out of lockdown and feeling very kind of stuck in your own house, in your own mind. And I just felt like there was things that I should do. And one of the things on my list was this podcast, among a lot of other things on my list. But I spent I spent kind of the end of this last year recording maybe one or two episodes, and
Hmm.
then on New Year's Day, I decided to teach myself with YouTube videos, and the rest, yeah, the rest all unfolded after that.
What do you love the most about it?
I love meeting new people and hearing their story, because I think community is so abstract, and I think people have, and a lot of the time people are doing things for the first time. So hearing those experiences and taking something away, like every single conversation, I feel like I've learned something new, and I've been able to share that with the rest of the world, which is nice.
And for me, starting a podcast sounds like a huge step out of your comfort zone. And I wonder, how do you feel? How do you feel when you're stepping out of it?
Oh, it's very scary. I think you can never. I think growth doesn't happen if in you're kind of never stepping out of your comfort zone, or trying new things. So if anyone has a challenge for 2024, I think it's to try something new either every month or every couple of months, just to feel alive and feel um, like you're moving forward.
Do you have this challenge yourself?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely. I think if you when I think especially when I'm not traveling, which was hard for me in lockdown. It's a very first world problems, but yeah, not being able to experience a new culture or destination and being very stuck in the one place. I think, yeah, I feel a little bit stuck and not moving.
What is one thing you want to challenge yourself with in the nearest time?
um, next year there's a lot of um, things on my list still. Um, I think a big one is growing my I think growing my self-love and self-confidence. I think I've been a bit shy around promoting my podcast and like raising my voice. So I think I need to be better at um, not dimming my light a little bit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I I still see you a lot out there.
Oh, good.
So yeah,
I'm
always
a bit
good
hard
from my side.
on
And
myself.
I feel like also one of kind of like, I would say, step out of comfort zone. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe a wedding. So when is your wedding?
Yeah, my wedding is in August next year. So coming up really soon. And it's, yeah, in south of France. So that's going to be a big change and a big um yeah, lifestyle change, I think.
Did you do any preparations already?
Yeah, we booked the venue, we booked our photographer, all the big things I think are almost in place now. So even my dress, even I've my mom's just booked her flights, so we're getting there. Yeah.
How many weddings did you attend already?
There was a few this year. I had to fly back to Australia to attend my friend's wedding in uh, where is it called? We call it the Red Centre. um, and yeah, so I went to Australia. There was one in Brighton. Yeah, there's been a few in this year that we've attended. Maybe 4 or 5 weddings in total. Not too many.
No, not too many. I feel like I attended like 2 weddings in all my life. Oh, 4 or 5. Yeah, not too many. Sounds great. And do you have a favorite moment in weddings?
I think I'm very emotional. So
Mm,
anyone kind of walking down the aisle, and I think seeing the parents, their reaction, because often they're crying or they're emotional. I think the walking down the aisle gets me every time.
do you want to have a dog?
I do. Absolutely love dogs, which you've probably seen on my Instagram. I look after a dog actually. Um, and there's an app in London called Borrow My Doggy.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've got it in Poland. No?
At least I didn't hear about that.
It's
I
so
just, I just have 2 dogs myself. So
2 dogs. Oh, what kind?
it's Pomeranian. Oh, not really Pomeranian, but like German Spitz, but very similar to Pomeranian. And the next one, Chihuahua. So crazily big, huge dogs. Yeah.
Oh, I love them. Yeah, I think I love all dogs. And we look after a dog called Bodhi, and he's a Cocker Spaniel. And I've known him since he was about 4 months old. So
Hmm.
he's been part of our lives for quite a few years now. And just yeah, we look after him for his mom, and me and his mom are both friends. So that's we've kind of built a relationship as well.
What does it mean that you look after? So it's when she's gone, so you're taking care of them?
Yeah, we're kind of uh, like an auntie and uncle. We just
Mm.
look after
Okay.
him when she's on holidays or doing something.
Okay, so what kind of auntie are you?
I'm a very, I spoil them.
When will you have your own dog?
Ooh, I think that's a question for my fiance. If
I
he
will
wants,
share this episode with him. Okay.
if he wants to surprise me, then he can. I don't mind. But I think after, I don't know. I guess we're kind of at that stage where we're so preoccupied with the wedding and work and life that we've got to decide. I think in a few years. But for now, we get the best of both worlds with Bodhi. You get to
Mhm.
look after a dog part time, and then you get to give it back, just like with kids. You look after them, and then you can give them back. That's the dream, right?
Can you imagine the service, like an app that you can take care of a kid and then like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. Please, nobody, do not listen to this. But how do you know that your inner kid is still there?
Um, I think I'm in my house. I'm pretty silly, so I like to I like to do. If you know me, I like to do lots of accents, and I don't really mean to. Sometimes I just copy people. We have a lot of Scottish people that work with us because of the company that we work with. So I end up talking with a Scottish accent by the end of the day, and I don't mean to offend anyone, but it just comes naturally.
So just mirroring them.
Yeah, I think it's a form of people pleasing, probably. I don't realize, but I end up, you know, doing what other people do.
How do you have fun?
I try to, I think a lot of my social events, I try to make sure we're doing something fun. So like, more than just we go for brunch, we go for a walk or a run or I love dancing. Um, and I also do CrossFit, which I think is a little bit of a play. You know, it's just people with weights and doing crazy moves and things like that. So that's how I have fun.
Sounds very, it's kind of like fitness plus dancing plus doing crazy stuff. So yeah, I
Anything to
totally,
move the body, I think.
so fun. Once you shared, once again, God damn it, community. Being consistent is one of the best ways to build a community. But how does being consistent help you in life?
I
And
think
are you consistent?
pardon?
And are you consistent?
I think I am. I think I'm quite repetitive. And I think I end up in my comfort zone when I learn something and I repeat it and I perfect it. But I think the ability to be consistent shows that you're quite reliable and quite dependable in life. And I think if people know that they can depend on you and you're willing to show up or be there when things get tough, then
Mm.
that really, I think that helps relationships a lot, as well as, building a community beyond that.
What do you do when you get bored?
Probably a lot of similar to everyone else. I jump on my phone and scroll and scroll and scroll. No, I think being bored is a good thing to have,
Hmm.
because a lot of creativity comes when you're bored. So I do try and avoid being on my phone as much as possible, as much as I'm addicted to it. But yeah, I think I'll try my best to not jump on my phone. But yeah,
What is your favorite phone app?
my favorite phone app, other than Finimize, and is oh, I think definitely. I mean, I do like Instagram because of the way I can be connected to a lot of my friends in Australia and
Mhm.
all over the world. But again, I think it's not my favorite because sometimes I look at it too long. Um, and maybe, yeah, the other one is uh, what do I use the most? Maybe WhatsApp as well, because it keeps me connected. Yeah, I would say those ones.
Why your Instagram handle is Michelina?
So when when Instagram was started, I think in 2012, I similar to when Gmail or Hotmail brought out their emails many years before that. And you came up with a really cool handle. Like my Hotmail was love_bug forever with the EVA at hotmail.com, which is not what I would use now.
Why?
It's not a professional one.
Okay.
But yeah, I think with Instagram, it was kind of similar, where I came up with Michelina, and I tossed around in my mind, should I take Michelle Sims, because that's my actual name? And a few years later, there was already a Michelle Sims, so I was like, I'm going to be Michelina forever.
Still, why Michelina?
um, I like it. I don't know how to explain it. I think, and now people call me Michelina, so it's just become my name. I think it was a mix between Michelle and ballerina or something like that. So it just sounded really like fun and exciting.
Okay, so if it's a mix between Michelle and ballerina, so What part of your life takes ballet?
Uh, I guess I did a little bit of dancing and that style of dance when I was younger, but not much ballet. Yeah.
Why did you stop doing it?
Um, I think because, you'd get closer to uh you'd grow up in school and, have to take
Hmm.
different classes and things like that. So I ended up doing different sports as well. So I had to kind of choose between dance or football or soccer or all these other things. And so I just, you kind of choose something different each time.
So football is also on your list, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more about that.
You mean football as in soccer or?
Yeah, yeah, like this normal European football. Let's.
I get in trouble whenever I say so.
I totally get you.
Yeah, so I follow Tottenham over here and
Hotspurs.
yeah, Spurs, but I'm not a very good football fan. I do not attend as many. I've maybe attended like 4 or 5 of their games. And I'm not, I know they're doing well this season, so it's good.
Still, you know it, you know. And why Tottenham?
Do you know what? I think when I moved to London, we really wanted to go to a football match, sorry. And my friend said, "Oh, I've got some cheap tickets to Spurs." And so we went there. I bought the scarf and I was like, "This is it. This is my team."
Yeah, once you bought the scarf, you can't change your team anymore. Yeah, totally.
It's the rules.
Yeah, exactly. And why do you like what do you like about ice skating?
Oh, it's funny that you said. So every year since me and my fiance we met, for my birthday or around Christmas time, we've always gone ice skating. So it just has a little bit of again, repetition. It's like a ritual we do every year. But I don't know if I'm going to go this year because last year we had a very bad experience ice skating.
How come?
So there's a new ice skating rink that opened up near us at the Battersea Power Station, and we went ice skating and we were ice skating around, and then all of a sudden this very older man fell and hit the ice, and I think I instantly skated over to him, and no one could see, and yeah, there was blood everywhere, obviously,
Wow.
and we had to call the ambulance, and so I'm just like a little bit. I'm scared of the ice skating rink now, so maybe I won't go. We'll see.
Yeah, but it's not connected with you.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Got it.
We'll
And what is your favorite gelato flavor?
It is. I'm going to say cookies and cream or chocolate chip.
And what was the best gelato you've ever had and where it was?
Oh, you can't go wrong with not, gelato in Italy is the best, and probably anywhere in the south. I love Rome or Positano or Sorrento. Yeah.
Talking about your experience with people, so you traveled a lot, you still work a lot with people, and you definitely meet a ton of people. But how do you choose who to keep in touch with?
I think being good in the community space is the luckiness that we get is we can collect people a little bit and put them into WhatsApp groups or put them into Slack groups and stay connected that way. But I think the people that I stay connected with the most are probably the people that seem to there is something outside of just what our circle of interest is. So
Hmm.
we end up, there's a lot of community members that I've just become friends with off the back of just, knowing that there's one more thing that we have in common, and we'll go outside and we'll experience that together.
And if you have this one-on-one connection, who usually is this person who acts first, like sending message first, inviting to a party, like calling? Is it you or is it somebody else?
You know what? I think other people are really good at it sometimes. I think I'm a little bit more shy in my personal than in my work life. And if someone makes the effort, then I'm like, wow, that's special.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Let's continue the conversation.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
it. Michelle, I really wish to have the sky as limit to our conversation, but time is the limit. So let's jump to the rapid fire questions. Are you
Yeah.
ready?
Ready.
Latte or champagne?
Ooh, latte.
Party hard or chill at the beach?
Ooh, very fun. Chill at the beach. I love the beach.
What are your favorite color and song?
Purple. And I love anything by Fred again at the moment.
If you were a superhero, what superpower would you have?
Definitely flying.
Who do you learn from in the community world? Name just one person.
Rosie Sherry. She's really amazing. So many though.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's one of the hardest questions. And the second hard question, name two people who I should definitely reach out and have this conversation with.
Ooh. Um, who else? Oh, if you haven't already, you should definitely speak to Tiffany Oda. I really loved that conversation. And who else? Vera as well, who I spoke to, who ran some amazing B2B communities as well. But yeah, there's so many people. It's so hard to choose.
Yeah, exactly. And is there one question that I definitely should have asked you but didn't?
I feel like there's so many questions that I should have asked you. I didn't know if I should cut in or not. So
You can do whatever you want, it's all about you. And by the way, we can always switch seats if you'd ever like to. So,
yeah, we'll have to. Um, I think no, there's no other questions. What are you doing for Christmas? I'd love to know.
I feel like we'll just eat, sit, watch movies, and sleep. So,
Right.
usual family stuff, and like I feel like when I was kid, I was waiting. So basically, in Ukraine, we had Christmas after the New Year on 7th of January. Like it's another style. So currently, we're coming back to like more European style. So basically, we'll have like the Christmas with all Europe and the US. And for me, like the biggest party was New Year. That's exactly when Santa Claus came, and it was not a Santa Claus. We had another name out of Soviet Union and all the stuff. But it was always, for me, it was always waiting for a present. But when I became a father and this person who give presents, I was like, okay. For me, it's like I just happy when my family members happy, and it's like something. I don't really want to go anywhere. I don't really want to go to. I just want to have fun with my family, and just sit, relax, eat pizza, watch some movies, and eat some amazing cakes that my wife can make from time to time,
Yeah.
and yeah, just all this, family cozy. And I dream about fireside. So I had fireside when I was a small kid, but now we don't have, and I, I can damn it dream about fireside. So
Well, hopefully you'll get your fireside.
yeah, definitely. And Michelle, I loved this conversation. And even though we didn't have a chance to talk prior to this, I it was so easy. You know,
No,
it
no.
was it I when I was preparing for this conversation, I was like, Michelle sounds like and such a great and kind and amazing person to talk to. And I'm just looking forward. And yeah, that's exactly how it is. And you were talking a lot about shy. I maybe a little bit, but it's like I can't say that it's a bad shy, but like very nice shy. So yeah, I really want to hear more of you on LinkedIn and the professional space. And you have an amazing attitude and energy. And yeah, I love this conversation. So thank you very much for that.
Oh, thank you, Yuri. That was a lovely thing to say. And yeah, I've really enjoyed chatting to you and sharing. And thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
And see you in the community world.